Hello, my name is Kimberly Knighton, and I will be presenting the communication theory map that I developed. Um, the first theory or tradition, rather, that I will be going over is the rhetorical tradition. This tradition basically deals with debates and speeches, theories that go along with that. And the rhetorical tradition of communication is described as how people understand arguments. So, rhetoric is basically concerned with arguments and typically some type of form of persuasion. So, this tradition teaches people to become more critical listeners of arguments and to see the flaws or problems with another party's arguments. There are three theories in this tradition. The first one is the theory of invitational rhetoric, which basically it invites the um, the listener or the reader to consider the argument that's being made. So again, it's a form of persuasion. The other theory in this field is critical rhetoric, where the rhetor seeks to understand the assumptions that underlie the various forms of discourse and how they function to promote domination or freedom. And the third theory in this tradition is a coordinated management theory, which interprets the message and assigns meanings to the situation and the behavior of the speaker. So there are the second tradition is the semiotic tradition. This one is concerned with signs and symbols in communication. So this tradition is a foundation of communication theory because basically in order for communication to occur, there must be a shared understanding, not only of individual words, but also grammar, society, and culture. So there are three theories associated with this tradition as well. The first one is theory of identification. The next one is the social construction of reality. In this theory, each group and community and culture develops their own understandings of the world, and it's usually based off of the signs and symbols that they collectively agree upon to mean certain things. And the next one is the speech act theory. The third tradition is the phenomenological tradition. Excuse my mispronunciation. But this tradition, it looks at the individual as the key component in the communication process. So theorists in this tradition cling to the idea that experience is subjective, not objective. So one theory in this tradition is the co-cultural theory, which is about conversations between individuals from underrepresented or marginalized groups. And another theory is the face negotiation theory. This basically provides a basis for predicting how people will accomplish face work in different cultures. The fourth tradition is the cybernetic tradition. This is primarily about how systems and networks of communication function through the transfer of information to remain stable over time. This tradition stresses feedback and the reliability of information being processed for system maintenance. The first theory that I'll be talking about is the actor network theory, which belongs in this tradition because it studies the organizing properties of communication that occur among various agencies in interaction. The other theory is the media dependency theory, which claims that audiences depend on media information to meet certain needs and achieve certain goals. And lastly, the media equation theory also belongs in the tradition as it says that humans treat technology as social actors. Okay, the socio-psychological tradition focuses on the individual's communication and behavior. So this tradition relies on cause-effect thinking. One of the theories in this tradition is the uncertainty reduction theory. This addresses the basic process of how people gain knowledge or reduce uncertainty about other people. Another theory is the expectancy violation theory, which predicts that ambiguous behavior by a valued communicator will be taken as positive, but such behavior by an unrewarding communicator will be taken as negative. And then lastly, the elaboration likelihood model. It has the cause effect aspect. This one deals with how communicators process persuasive messages, either using critical thinking or not. Okay, the sixth tradition is the sociocultural tradition. This one addresses the ways our understandings, meanings, norms, roles, and rules are worked out interactively in communication. The first theory that I'll be talking about is the identity negotiation theory, which deals with different identities and how individuals manage or negotiate the tension between personal and cultural selves in ways that enhance respect for and consideration of the other cultural groups. The cultural identity theory describes the communicative processes used by individuals to construct and negotiate cultural group identities and relationships across contexts. And lastly, the cultivation theory looks at the effects that television has on a culture and how it is influential in shaping a culture's beliefs and views. Okay, and then lastly, the critical tradition. This tradition is against abuse of power and domination and for equality, democracy, and greater participation of historically marginalized groups. So it basically investigates how power, oppression, and privilege are the products of certain forms of communication throughout society. So one of the theories from this tradition is the feminist theory, which seeks social, political, and economic equality for women within existing power structures. The critical race theory also belongs in this tradition because it deals with inequality in regards to race. And then post-structuralism is concerned with issues of power in language. And here are my references that I used. And thank you very much.